Computer. All right, we are recording. Yay, we're live. 2019-2020 season of Sparta Nation Team Calls. We are back with our very first guests other than myself on our team call. And like, I could not think of better guests to have to be our first guests on this season of Team Calls. And for those of you that might not know Rob and Chelsea, and I'm going to give you a quick intro, and I just want to give you the call because they can hear me anytime. I want them to hear from you. But here's what I want you to know. Number one, they have built one of the largest, most successful businesses in the network, which, okay, number one. Number two, they are the most recent recipients of the Leadership Award at Summit. So if you knew nothing else, you would go, well, let me get my notebook out right there. But number three, because this is the one that matters the most, the other stuff doesn't matter if this wasn't happening. Number three, they are two of the nicest, most genuine, most authentic, most gracious and giving people on the planet. And I am honored that they are my friends. I don't know why they let me hang out with them, but they do somehow. And I'm so grateful for that. And the other stuff wouldn't matter if that wasn't already in place. So if you knew nothing else about them other than they are just really cool, amazing people, know that. Go follow them on social. They're building an incredible team with Shred Nation, also one of the coolest names ever. And anything with nation at the end of it, Sparta Nation, Shred Nation, clearly cool, clearly. And they are here to share some thoughts. And when we were talking about topics, I said, you know, what I love our speakers that come on these team calls to do is really, truly share what's sitting on their heart right now, because I think that makes the best kind of call. What is something that is sitting on your heart that you are working through or celebrating or using with your own teams that you might want to bring to us? That's always what I ask, because I love different perspectives. We can get so tied up in behind our laptops, on our phones, what's happening right in front of us. And we forget that there are other perspectives, other ways, as well as really, really common practices. There's a reason why vital behaviors are vital. There's a reason why common practices are common. And yet there's also a lot of really cool perspectives and routines and habits and systems and strategies and thoughts out there in the business. And I want our speakers to just really share what's happening in their lives and in their businesses to give us any and all of that. So I'm going to encourage everyone to hit speaker view, take away the Brady Bunch so you can focus on these two amazing people. Hit speaker view, make sure you're muted, and the chat's open. So get going. All right, you two.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for such an incredible introduction, and we love you so much. And like, I can't express how excited I was when Rob told me that we were doing the call today, because we have so much respect for you as a leader, and I know what you're about, so I know what your team's about, even if it's just a piece of your personality or your vision or what's important to you. I know every single person on this team shares something, one piece of that. So I feel like we have a really great grasp of who we're talking to and what we're talking about, and we're going to keep it simple, and we're going to be real, and we're going to talk about the things that are keeping us stuck, inviting. I mean, we're going to go all over the place. And even just hearing you say like what's on your heart, I feel like today something else is new on my heart. So we may just, what is it called? Calling an audible?
Ad-lib. Oh yeah.
Calling an audible.
Run an audible.
Running an audible.
Yep.
And we may just go all over the place. We're going to share our story just so you guys have some context as to how we got here, and hopefully something in our story will resonate with you. We have some tangible business tips, and then we'd love to do Q&A. Julie, how much time, I just want to make sure I honor everybody's time. How long do these typically go?
3 hours. Are you okay with that? No, I'm kidding. Did I not tell you that before? No. You just, I gotta get comfortable, boy. Really, whatever works for you. You know, we're more concerned with honoring your time. So anywhere from 30, 45, 60, whatever works for you. I think that once we hit that Q&A, if people have to go, they kind of, you know, whatever, but you know, the meat of what you have to offer is what we are here for. And the Q&A is the icing on the cake. So whatever works for you.
Awesome.
I have no children at home now. So you and I, we can just be on here all night long.
I love it. Well, I'll hand it off to you.
Cool. So the reason why we always like to start off with our story is because everyone starts at the beginning, and you may have enrolled as a coach today. You may have been a coach for years. And I think no matter where you are, the decision that you make today to start moving forward is what is going to get you to whatever your goal is. So we just like to put things into context because we're normal people. And I remember when we started, we would see like the people who have accomplished all these things and just saying like, how will I ever possibly get there? And the truth is you'll get there the same way that they got there, by taking one step forward today and then taking another step forward tomorrow.
So the old Facebook, the way it used to work with like the photos section was you could click on the photos that you were tagged in and you could go to the right, scroll to the right and see everyone's like latest photos. Or then you could go to the left and you could say their first photo. And we would, you know, back then there weren't as many trainings. We signed up in actually my 8-year anniversary just passed. So we've been coaching since 2011-12. And back then I remember we would go to like all of our favorite top coaches and master trainers and we'd scroll to the left and we would see like some weird college bar photo or like a really horrible meme. Or like not even that, like cell phone photos that were so blurry. So we used to give the suggestion like just go left with anybody that you look up to, but now I don't think it allows. You have to scroll and really do the work.
But so for me, I guess our story intertwines because we didn't start this together. In fact, we met through Beachbody, but we did our first steps in our journey separately. I've lost 100 pounds. I did it using Insanity. And I didn't even really know about Shakeology at the time because I wasn't a coach. I bought Insanity on an infomercial. And I always laugh about that because I was a free lead and my coach never contacted me. And I found out who she is and I don't have the heart to tell her. It's not you, Julie, don't worry. I always have to say, like, if you get free customers and leads, like reach out to them because you never, ever know what that's going to turn out to. But so, you know, if you guys watched the wake up call I did a couple weeks ago, I kind of shared the story about how my dad, he passed away, was it now 6 years ago?
6 years ago, yeah.
And my whole family had always been unhealthy. And it was because my parents were trying, like, they were like middle class and they had 3 kids and it was hamburgers and hot dogs and like white bread. And they were just trying to make sure that we could eat. And so I get to college, I put on even more weight. And then my dad got sick. I had to make a change. And then Insanity just fell into my lap. I worked my tail off and then I just fell in love with exercise. And it's crazy. You know, you hear different coaches that are successful having different experience with nutrition or with working out. And for me, like I'd work out 8 hours a day if my body could handle it. I just love working out. So, right. That's Julie and I see eye to eye when it comes to that. And so when this whole thing started for me, I was just like, man, and I met Chelsea at a Turbo Kick instructor training.
He signed up to become a Turbo instructor on Saturday
and a PiYo
instructor on Sunday, just so we could hang out.
So I could spend 2 days. Right. So, so we met through that, and you know, she had this goal, and her goal was to be an Emerald coach, and I said, hey, I can help that. But I don't want to coach. And I like, she always makes this joke when we tell this part of the story. So now I just lean in and own it. I was like, oh, I don't want to be a coach. I just want to help people lose weight and get through the Insanity program. I don't want to be a coach. And now that I go back in retrospect, it's like, that's what a coach does. But so for me, and this is, I think, the point that I want to get to, and this is something that I always try to make sure that people can find in their own life. My results were great. It changed my life and I knew what it could do for me. But what ended up happening was her next goal was to be a diamond coach. So I had to become an Emerald. My mom is supportive, so I got her to start drinking Shakeology. And my roommate at the time was a retired Coast Guard, and he was on blood pressure medication that was prescribed to take for the rest of his life. And this was back in 2015, so the percentage is probably different. But in 2015, 92% of prescriptions that were written in the US were for people to take for the remainder of their life, which is insane because it's like just putting a Band-Aid on what's wrong and not getting to the real issue.
And we always make the joke, like, people are afraid to commit to auto ship Shakeology or supplements. And it's like, but you're on those prescriptions forever.
Right. His name was Steve. I called him Sprout because I'm 6'7". He was 5'5". So it was funny.
It was really cute.
And so we did 2 months of insanity together, and he drank Shakeology every day for the 2 months. He went to his next physical, and his doctor took him off the medications. Now, I'm not making a claim saying Shakeology fixed his blood pressure. I'm not saying any of that stuff, but the habits that happened and me being able to experience and see those results that he had, that was when it really clicked for me. And it made me say, I want to do this for the rest of my life. It doesn't matter how much I get paid. It doesn't matter what happens. I just want to help people. I want to be able to give this experience to other people. And then I was sold and I was in. And I remember I read the compensation plan from start to finish, and everyone looks at me like I'm crazy, but I feel like that's another part of the reason why we built a successful business, is because I really wanted to understand how it works. Now, I'm not saying you have to go read the compensation plan, because the cool thing is now there's an FAQ, there are resources, there's all this stuff that there weren't before. But what we've done, and I guess what we kind of want to share a bit tonight, and I'll let you share your.
We can never share our story together. It's like 30 minutes.
One of us either runs and takes the whole thing, or otherwise. We just wanted to teach you guys like some of the things that we've experienced, either through trying something and getting lucky and it working, or failing flat on our face, which is actually what happened more often than not to learn things. So that we can just share that experience with you. What we've learned and how we built this business this way.
And I will give you a version of my story. And this, I guess this will fill the what's on my heart portion of tonight's event. Because I know I'm not alone, and I know there's somebody on this call tonight that needs to hear me say this. Because I need to hear people say this. Mental illness is something that has been a big part of my genetics. And it was actually about 10 years ago that I was in probably the darkest depression of my life. And it's actually why I gained 50 pounds in about a year and a half. I was a dancer, 110 pounds, had a 4-year, beautiful scholarship lined up in front of me. And I was in a really abusive relationship. Everything just collapsed. Like, I'm the oldest child. I'm blazing the trail. I'm afraid of failure. And I just fell on my face. And, this is actually the season that I'm in right now. Since the beginning of 2019, I've been back in that place. And I'm learning that happiness and contentment has nothing to do with your rank, and it has nothing to do with your income. It has nothing to do with winning a leadership award, because this summer has been the hardest summer mentally and emotionally for me. And it's been actually quite a beautiful lesson, because happiness and health really is in the present moment, and it's not tied to our circumstances. And I would never know that if I didn't have all the things on paper that I thought would make me happy, and then realize that's not the source. And so I was in therapy, and I am a huge advocate for therapy. And I also think that as coaches, sometimes we try to be therapists. And I think it's a really smart thing to say, hey, I see a doctor, or I think it'd be great for you to see a doctor, or there's no shame for you to see that. And if you don't have access to those things, there are, there's Brooke Castillo from the Life Coach School podcast. If you don't subscribe, please, that one takeaway, the Life Coach School podcast, it will change your life. There's also great Instagram accounts, but all that to say, I was talking to my therapist about trauma and like limiting beliefs. And I had this massive aha moment that Beachbody was the first time I had seen like comebacks celebrated. Failure was always something that we would hide. And I was seeing Beachbody literally take these before and after photos, people at their lowest of low, showing not only can you transform, but celebrating that person for getting through that process. That for me was permission. Like, this is my place. This is my comeback. And I had dropped out of school because I didn't want to spend $45,000 a year, not knowing what I wanted to do. I got around my parents and a positive support system. I started to see a doctor. I started to exercise. I think so. Turbo Jam was my first program, and I was smoking a pack a day with asthma. I became a cigarette smoker at 18 just because I was like self-medicating and in so much pain. And so I did a workout for every cigarette I smoked. And on day 3, I was like, I have to choose one or the other because I can't breathe. And that's when I found my coach on Twitter, and I found this Brady Bunch that we're seeing right now. I didn't have that in my life. Like, I'm sure so many of you guys, like, you're here because of this, because we all, we want to feel good, and we want to make other people feel good, and we want to be connected to the feel good, and we don't ever want to stop. And so the rest is really history. But all that to say, if you're in a place right now where you feel like you're not proud of where you're at, maybe your decisions or what happened this summer for you or this year for you, what in any area of your life, just know that this is a place that celebrates comebacks, and you won't be judged for it. You'll be celebrated for it. So that's our quick little story. We didn't cover a lot of stuff, but we want to get into the meat now, and then we'll answer some questions. So we have.
Can I actually flip my first 2 topics, because I want to cover the first one first? Because I feel like you just transitioned very beautiful in it. So we have a couple things that, like we said, we planned that we wanted to go over, because I think these are really, really massive, simple things that you can take. And again, I don't want you to, we have 6. I don't want you to go and try to change all 6 things tonight. Because if you do tomorrow, like it's like when you start a new program and then the next day you feel like you got hit by a Mack truck. Like, don't jack yourself up.
Don't get hit by 6 Mack trucks.
Take one step, make one change, and then because that's how we've always done growth. It's like one step at a time, one small thing at a time. And so, we have a puppy. We have 3 puppies. And Luna's probably just staying downstairs. Yeah. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the concept of every day versus all day. And I want to give my analogy of brushing your teeth.
Just repeat that one more time, because that can be a mantra for you.
So every day versus all day. Okay. And so the analogy, and the thing that's cool about this is anything in life. This business is all about consistency. Okay, I'm sure you've heard that word. Okay, I'm sure you've heard that word like 8 billion times. Sasha, go with your mom. I'm sure you've heard consistency 1 million times. And it's the reason why you hear it so much. I remember Chelsea usually talks about this, but we used to go to events and hear the top 10 speak, and they had like a panel at a Success Club trip. And it's like, so what do you think your key to success is? This guy named Brett Blake. I remember it was Brett Blake that did the interview. Julie, he was on his way out right when we got here. But he was like, so what's your key to success? And number 1 said, the vital behaviors. And then number 2 said, the vital behaviors. Number 3, the vital behavior. And we're just sitting here like, they're all saying the same thing. They all have secrets. They're like, why aren't they telling us what it is? Let me tell you, the key to this business is consistently doing the vital behaviors. And Amy Silverman said it so beautifully, because I think it was like years we had been hearing this. And what Amy said is it's not just about the vital behaviors, it's about tying them in or sewing them in.
No, that was kind of like the way that I thought of it. She basically was saying, do you guys ever get sick of hearing it's the vital behaviors? I get sick of it. I was so over it. And my business was not taking off the way I wanted it to. And it was a top 10 panel at an event, and they were like telling their secrets, and everything was the vital behaviors. Like, it was so annoying. I just wanted the secret. And Amy had said the difference is it's about incorporating the vital behaviors into your life so that they become a part of who you are. And that was the difference. That was the tiny shift was making it an involuntary habit that you just can't help but do it. And that's why the top 10 coaches and so many other coaches are where they are.
And so here's what happens. And so this is where my brushing your teeth analogy comes in. So here's what ends up happening. You guys this is actually perfect. the summer off. Okay. Now there are 46 people on this call.
Amazing.
And because it's the second call, I bet that like the last few weeks before the summer, there were probably more people that were getting on the call. The fact of the matter is each and every one of you guys decided to show up today. Okay. And you should feel proud of that, because you could have chosen not to. The fact that you are here says something about where you are and where you want to be going. Now, here's the thing. This is what happens with a lot of people with their business is they say, oh, I haven't done my Vita Behaviors in a week or maybe a month or maybe 6 months.
I haven't joined the National Wake Up Call.
Right. I haven't done that. And what we end up doing, it's just like working out. If you haven't worked out in a week or 2 weeks, you start to say like, oh, I'm behind. I haven't worked out in so long. Everybody else is ahead of me. And then we almost use the fact that we haven't done this as a reason not to do what we need to do.
Or, he's an expert at this because he's married to me. I am not a Julie or a Rob. I am like, whatever I feel. And when I show up with that energy, like I will show up and nobody can touch me. But like to do it every day consistently in a routine is just not who I am. And it's not just from those of you guys who are more like me and less like Rob and Julie, it's not even like, it's like the pressure that's building and bottlenecking. And for whatever reason in our head, we feel like we owe that much, like in debt, versus just do it. And I think that for those of you who think like me, like us right now, this is a massive shift, and Rob's so good at it because he tells it to me every day.
So if you haven't sent an invite in a week or two, or if you haven't drank your shake in a week or two, or whatever it is, okay, I want you to think of this as like brushing your teeth. Okay, and this is twofold. So if you haven't brushed your teeth in 2 weeks, I want you to get over the fact that your mouth is going to feel disgusting and gross and nasty and whatever. Yeah. Like, just stay with me for the analogy. So let's say you haven't brushed your teeth in 2 weeks. Okay, when you go to bed tonight, if you say to yourself, I haven't brushed my teeth in the last 2 weeks, it's not even worth it, I'm not going to do it, you're going to wake up tomorrow and your mouth is still going to be nasty and gross and everything. Okay, so all you have to do is, if that's happened, is you brush your teeth tonight. That's it. You brush your teeth. You put toothpaste on, water, however you brush your teeth, and you brush your teeth, and then you move on.
No, wait, but do they have to brush their teeth for 2 weeks worth of teeth brushing?
Right. Absolutely not, because there's something called the law of diminishing returns. And if you sit there and you brush your teeth for an hour, you are going to wreck your gums. Yeah. And like your whole mouth is going to get jacked up. So don't do that. And it's the same thing. Like if you haven't done your Vita Behaviors, you haven't used I love the Success Club tracker. If you haven't done that, like don't wake up tomorrow and say, oh, I haven't done my vitals in 2 weeks, so I'm going to do 7 days worth of power hours tomorrow and then 7 days worth of power hours on Tuesday. Because guess what? You're not even going to get to Tuesday. You're going to get to the 3rd power hour tomorrow and say like, nope, I'm not doing this again for weeks.
And then you hate it.
I'm exhausted.
You hate it. And then you repeat that
right.
cycle.
And then you repeat the cycle. So this is, for me, it's like anytime that you're like, oh, I can't do this, just brush your teeth. It's not that hard to send invites. Don't feel like you have to send 1,000 invites because you haven't sent invites in the past 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years, whatever. You just do what you're supposed to do. You brush your teeth and then you move on. And the thing that's so cool about this is you create momentum. And so if there are 10 things on that tracker that you're not doing, don't try to fill out the entire tracker tomorrow. Pick one thing and lock that one thing in tomorrow. And then once you say like, hey, you know what, I can send, 10, 20, 50, whatever your number is for invites. Once you are doing that consistently, then you move on to the next thing. So now it's like, oh, now that I got brushing my teeth down, I'm going to include washing my face, what's it called, with a hydrating serum, right? So now that I have my teeth brushing down, I'm going to do the hydrating serum. Add that in, and then
I have a very extensive nighttime routine. You can tell he just watches me for 30 minutes. Like, what?
So you just build that up, and it's just like anything else. Like when you start, if you have never worked out a day in your life, you're not going to go run a marathon tomorrow. Maybe you're going to walk a mile tomorrow or run a mile tomorrow, whatever it is.
Oh, that's what that meant. We had written down, don't start with don't start with month 2 of insanity.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what that was. Don't just press play on the hardest workout.
Right. Yeah. Build into it. And then again, so the concept that we talked about that goes along with this analogy is do it every day, not all day. If you consistently do this, you will do more of the activity by doing less every day than trying to do all today.
Oh my gosh. I'm running, passing, calling
Cool.
calling an audible.
Hand off.
What is it called?
Statue of Liberty play.
What is it called?
Huh?
Calling an audible?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm calling an audible.
Cool. Go for it.
I have visuals because, guys, I am a visual girl. Okay, so this was actually.
Did you share?
Nope. I'm just making sure it's the right thing. So I learn by and I teach by visuals. I also want to share with you guys this brush your teeth concept and all of these concepts, like that one thing that you take. The key to network marketing and success is duplication, right? We not only want to do it ourselves and master it, we want to share it with our customers and our coaches. And then, so we want to learn, then we want to teach. And now what we do is we teach to teach. So we're teaching you this with the hopes that you will then teach your coaches or your customers how to brush their teeth. When they struggle, use that, steal it. You have all of our permission, all of these things. It is now yours to teach. And then let your coaches and your customers know, or your challengers know, or more on the business side, hey, I'm teaching you this thing and I give you permission. I'm teaching you to teach. So when you struggle with this, or when your coaches or your customers struggle with this, then you pass this on. And just that little concept of saying, hey, just so you know, this is advice I'm giving you, but I am also giving you this to pass on to somebody else, has made a huge impact, because now they say, oh, okay, well, now I have an answer to this thing that we always struggle with, and they feel equipped. So this was a team call that I did for my team 2 weeks ago. And especially being in a season of depression and feeling like I got knocked on my butt, like very simple things have been very hard for me, like showering and sunshine and consistency and a routine and visiting my doctor consistently. I really truly felt like I got knocked down and the floor, or the rug came out from underneath me. And many of you guys might be feeling this way in your personal life or in your business. And I actually, I mentioned this at the end of Julie and Danielle's post-summit event, that if right now you look at your Success Club tracker and it's all unbearable for you because you have to take care of you right now, that's what's most important. But know that you taking care of you is going to lead you to a place where then you can take care of others and you have a story that you can share. So like Rob was talking about tracking the vital behaviors, I started building a routine, and like it's not perfect and it doesn't have a lot of invites, but I have been so consistent, and I am never, ever, ever, ever consistent. And so what I highly recommend is, if you're not reading or listening to a PD book right now, please not only listen and read the book Atomic Habits, but follow James Clear. I screenshot his actual Instagram handle so you guys could find it, because I just love having reminders in my feed. I kind of unfollowed a lot of coaches, and I just have a lot of quotes and a lot of teachers and a lot of authors and a lot of therapists, and just a constant motivation in my face and in my feed. And I was struggling because I blew morning meltdown. I just blew it. I couldn't do it. And with the pace of even like catching up, like that fear of not missing a day or missing 4 days or missing 10. I mean, I was so behind, and like every single day just kept catching up. And that might be invites for you. That might be Power Hour. That might be PD, whatever it is. There were 3 quotes that really resonated with me in this season, and they're all from this book. And the first quote is, you should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than with your current results. And I think that sometimes we look at our paycheck or our rank or the fact that we maybe had a team or we had a challenge group, and we say, well, this must be a reflection of me. and what I can do and what I'm capable of. But the reality is that's just not the case. We should be more focused on where we're going. And so these were literally 3 days. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do workout 1 when people were on workout 30. And I feel like a failure still. Like it's not perfect, but I have to keep telling myself what matters is where I'm going, not what's behind me. Not what I can't control that stuff. I need to be focused on where I'm facing.
And your trajectory is determined by what you do today.
Right.
Like and that's the thing that's so cool about this is you're 100% in control of it. You're in control of how many hours you sleep, how much water you drink, the food that you put in your body, how hard you do your workout. I know I talked earlier about how I'm crazy about working out, but like, when you do your workouts, are you spending more time filming yourself than actually exercising so that you have better social media content? Or are you crushing your workout and then filming your favorite move afterwards so that you can present it? Because the results that you create, like the quote says, your current results, you want to improve upon your current results, and that will change, or that will happen if you change your current actions.
And I don't ever want there to be shame associated with, for all my sensitive girls. I'm a sensitive girl. I was told to toughen up a lot as a kid. And no, that's my gift. I don't want you to feel shame like you're not good at what you do, or like I project on other people because I'm sensitive. And so when Rob's like, what are you doing? You working out, or are you filming yourself? I'm like, I'm filming myself because I was taught to film myself. Those are the voices in our head. That's not the intention. And I found that for a lot of coaches, like if we were to write out all of the advice that we heard from every single coach, there's a lot of good coaches do this, bad coaches do this, good coaches don't do this, bad coaches do this every day. A lot of absolutes and a lot of things that are kind of like these unspoken vows that we hold on to. And we don't even realize we see ourselves through the filter. I'm a bad coach because I'm not doing a sneak peek every other day. Or good coaches post 4 times on Instagram. It's like, no, that good coach does. But you get to decide, and I get to decide what a good and a bad coach is. And so that's all I wanted to say, because I was in my feelings for a second. Because I take a lot of videos during my workout.
Feel myself.
Okay, second quote. This is from Atomic Habits, guys. And he actually reads the book, and it's amazing. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Okay, so this goes back to picking that one thing. Like your system is the habit and the routine that you're in of drinking your Shakeology every day, or of sending that one invite every day, not 1,000 all day, but getting into the system of this is just who I am as I reach out to one person or I talk to one person. Like there's no shame if inviting somebody right now is stressing you out. Just start having a conversation with one person every day. They could already be a friend. They don't even have to be a new person, because as you start to do that, you can build, and that becomes a part of your habits. And this is actually from our summit presentation. The word system can feel really complicated, and it's not. It's just steps in order that you do them, and maybe you do them at the same time. So like a system that we probably all share is we set our alarm. If we do a morning workout for a certain time, we fill a cup with ice and water, and then we add Energize. That is a system that helps us get motivated to work out on a consistent basis. An example of a very simple system for something like for your entire team, helping them and yourself to have a process for introducing new coaches is, as opposed to having a welcome email that you send out all the time, why don't you just do it one welcome post, pin it to the top of the group, and then when new coaches join, tag them in the comments and welcome them there. That's an example of a system. So we can set all these vision boards and these goals and these affirmations, and they feel good and they matter, but ultimately we do not rise to them. We fall to the level of the things that we're doing consistently. And I get energized by vision boards. Rob gets energized by a to-do list. And you probably fall somewhere along that spectrum. And I think this is really powerful, because if you were just at the level of your systems, you would have no reason to build higher systems without vision.
Right.
But if you just had vision with no systems, it's the only, like, God did something good when he put us together, because I would not be here without this guy. So that's the second quote that we have for you guys. Why don't you read this one?
All big things come from small beginnings. So true. The seed of every habit is a single tiny decision. And I want to read that one again. So the seed of every habit is a single tiny decision. If you don't choose that you want to do something, oh, this is cool. Okay, so I'm learning how to do handstands, which is crazy. That's totally out of my comfort zone, and so crazy because I'm 6'7" and I have no finesse at all. But I just decided that I wanted to start doing handstands. So in order to do that, I have, like, that is the seed, that desire is what's given me the ability to take on these habits. So now I do these things every single day that's going to get there.
Wait, but
and
I just want to point out, we could like really unpack this.
Sure.
His first decision was not to do a handstand. His first decision was, hey, I kind of want to challenge myself a little bit.
Right.
And then it was, I'm going to look up yoga studios in the area. So again, it's not like it's this big thing. It's these, there's tiny decisions in your tiny decision.
Right. So as that decision is repeated, a habit sprouts. So now, like she said, I go to a yoga class 5 days a week. So that's my new habit, and it grows stronger. Roots entrench themselves and branches grow. It's funny because there's a tree mural on the side of the room at the yoga studio. The task of breaking a bad habit is like uprooting a powerful oak within us. And you guys probably feel that there's probably something that you do that you know, or like you wish that you didn't do. And it's really hard to change that because it's part of who you are. But the task of building a good habit is like cultivating a delicate flower and doing it one day at a time. And I think that's like, that is so true. This goes back to the consistency piece that we were talking about, because you build on it every single day. Going back to the handstand thing, if I just said, okay, I've never done any of this work or practice before, and I'm just going to go up and do a handstand, I am going to fall flat on my face. But you take one little small thing at a time and you improve a little bit, and then you find something else that you need to grow and you improve a little bit more. Eventually, you get to the point where you've reached that goal.
I want to show you guys my small, tiny decision. I host a lot of calls and my laptop dies, like sometimes. Like, how embarrassing is that? Like, my laptop's always dying. That's a small thing. It's a system. Like, I'm falling to the level of my systems. And for you, that might be that you never have your workout clothes picked out, or you meant to read that PD book, but you can't find it, or you want to join that Zoom call, but your laptop's dying. So now this is my webinar chair. I used to do it everywhere around my house, the freedom of this business. And now I have an extension cord that goes under the chair, and I have a charger here at all times. And if I forget to do that, then my system is going to be that I have a checklist for what I set up before my webinar. But like our 7-figure annual business is built off of small decisions like this. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe our laptop died when we were doing this call. Let's get an extension cord, and let's do that every day.
Beachbody does not guarantee any level of income. Your own success is based off your own efforts, diligence, and skill. You said 7-figure annual.
Yes.
So, and guys, this is like a little thing. I used to always laugh at the income disclaimer, and now I love it, because the fact that the company has put into a legal statement that your success is based off of your efforts, your diligence, and your skills is like, you get to brag on yourself, because where you are is based off of what you've done.
Yes. And the only reason I said that big crazy number, which still blows my mind and is our team and I'm so grateful for, is because I need you guys to know that like it's built off of 1,000 decisions like this. Like, it is not together behind the scenes. We're wearing sweatpants right now. Like, we fumble constantly. I delete posts from my memories, like from 7 years ago, constantly, because I posted just bags of Shakeology with all the ingredients as like my invitation. And that comes in the process. So I wish you could go and don't go back on my old photos, but you can if you really want to. And then this isn't finally, but I want to share the final slide of this. This app is the app that's building me back up. So if you're already consistent, you might love this because you'll crush it, and there's fun sounds, and like it keeps a streak.
Like a video game.
Yeah, it keeps a streak of how many days in a row you've done a certain habit. But for me, I needed to make it fun. I needed to make this something that was going to make me feel like these wins really mattered. So it's called Productive. This is on iPhone. I don't know if it's on Android or Samsung, but you get to just pick one thing. So you get to pick, maybe it's personal development consistently, like really doing it, or using your products and not letting them sit on the shelf, or doing your workouts consistently, or sending out 10 invites wherever you're at. You get to add these habits, and there's like a fun little icon. And then when you're done with them, you swipe it and it makes a cool sound and it tracks it on your tracker. And you can set up these habits where you can get, these are my morning habits. And then you have to complete them before noon. And these are my afternoon. I love it. It's just more fun. There's colors. You can have afternoon habits. You can have habits that only happen on Mondays. You can get push notifications. It's a really fun way to stay on track. And so I just figured I would share with you guys that tool. All right, let's get back to our stuff. Let's talk about inviting. We kind of wanted to just give you guys tips all over the board. So we started off with every day versus all day, and brush your teeth. We made a detour to all the Atomic Habits quotes. Sorry for being all over the place. We want to talk about specifically inviting, and just wrap with our 3 of our favorite tips on inviting, because that's what actually builds your business. Do you want to start with posture and?
Yeah. So I'll give you guys a little nugget. If you guys don't know who Ray Higdon is yet, look him up. He's like the network marketing version of Brooke Castillo. And he's so great. He used to be in network marketing, and now he teaches network marketers, and he has a podcast, and most of his podcasts are 5 to 7 minutes long. So like, that's right up my alley.
So good.
And it's like super direct. And so he's done.
So it's called Home Business Profits.
And what he does is, he used to do it with Twitter, but now it's on different social media platforms. People ask him questions about network marketing, and his podcasts are him saying, oh, this is probably a question that every person in network marketing has.
So good.
So I'm just going to share my opinion and my answer. So it's 5 to 7 minutes, and he nails these questions. So anytime that you need some help with the actual business, it's dynamite.
I just want to say, we challenged ourselves to make no new stuff. I was like, I'm not doing one more call or one more video or one more group. We challenged ourselves. We hit elite last year by anytime one of our coaches had a question, we would say, hey, I have an awesome podcast for you. Listen to this, and then let's talk about it. So it's not like we're just saying, oh, listen to this. We're saying, listen to this first. He can teach it way better. Just Julie is your coach. I was going to say, just like Sean could teach insanity better. I'm not going to teach insanity, but you got Julie. So that's an exception. But do this, and then let's talk about it. And so it weeds out the people who don't take action, and you don't have to record a video on what to do when you followed up for the 4th time. And like, the titles of these podcasts are gorgeous. It's like, what do I do when my team doesn't want to do anything? Or how do I balance my business and my coach's business? Or how do I deal with Instagram haters? It is specific for network marketers in little doses.
So one of the things that he taught us about is something called posture. And so everybody sits up when you say the word posture. It's like, oh, what is good posture? And really, it's a very accurate metaphor. So when you have posture in conversations and with invites, it's about having confidence, and it's being like sure-footed, And what we really look for when we're having posture is not worrying about what someone's response is going to be. Because the fact of the matter is, and Ray actually uses this analogy, which I really love. Imagine if someone just was trying to convince you that electricity was fake. Like electricity is something that isn't real. Okay, so we know, like without a shadow of a doubt, you could not be shaken, and you would argue to the death if someone tried to convince you that electricity wasn't a thing.
Right. He says like electricity is amazing, man. So let's do a little workshopping.
Okay.
Rob, electricity is freaking amazing.
I heard that electricity is just a scam to get you to pay a bill every month.
No, electricity works every time I use this light switch, it turns on.
Yeah, that's just because of the switch. It doesn't have anything to do with electricity.
All right. Cool. So what are you doing this weekend? That is posture.
So,
and
like,
we didn't plan this. That was kind of bad. We should
don't ad lib or role
or
play.
improv.
But no, but really the fact of the matter is something is so true and so real and so embedded in you. And for us with Beachbody, I know the results that Insanity is going to get you. No matter what you say, someone can tell me that it didn't work for me. It's like, well, did you really work it? I know in reality that the products that we have are things that work. No one's going to convince me otherwise. So the posture that I have will not be shaken. And
so let me take that a step further. We also have no desire to convince somebody who's going to be on the offensive that it doesn't. Okay, cool. All right. Anyway, have you seen any good movies lately? Yeah. Like when you are inviting us, and so when we're inviting, we're literally just trying to see if somebody's open. We're just trying to see, like, we're not, and that's another thing that we learned from Ray. We're not trying to close. We're just trying to see if somebody's open. And it's just a little bit of bait, a little bit of, look how awesome this is. Or like, just like a little nudge or a little flirt or a little something.
And I think that phrase itself in conversation is so powerful, because it's like, if you can say, would you be open to learning more?
They have to admit that they're not.
That is so powerful. If they say, no, I'm not open to learning more, it's like, well, okay, like on to the next. There are 250 million people who are overweight or obese in this country. So like, move on to the next person. It's right. Totally fine.
And you also don't leave damage. Like, one of the biggest mistakes I made early on was I pushed so hard with my warm market and even with my followers. And it's just, it was such a bad reflection on me versus other people who I'm like, cool, no worries. I always say I'm doing this forever. So if you ever change your mind, that's always how I respond to a no. And then 9 months or 4 years from now, they come back and I don't see an embarrassing back and forth history like used to happen. So the second point to that, once somebody says, yeah, I am open, is we always use a third party tool, because Beachbody's videos on what Energize or what Shakeology is, or a challenge pack or a new program.
Oh, the All Access Challenge Pack video is so good.
They spend so much money on those sizzlers. And you guys know, if you've been to an event or if you've seen a Facebook ad, it gets you so excited to do that new program. I want my prospect to feel that. And so the first thing, or the next thing that I say once they say that they're open, is I say, hey, I'm going to send you a 4-minute video, 2-minute video, 1-minute video. I tell them how long the video is. Would you watch it? And that's it. So if I'm at the grocery store or I am stuck in traffic, no, I'm just kidding. I don't invite in traffic, but I used to. Or I was at work at the time building my business. I don't have to explain what's in the challenge pack or explain what's in the workouts. Seeing is believing. And if you guys have never been to Team Beachbody's YouTube page,
Dynamite.
There are so many resources. And what I'm actually going to do, it took me like 6 to 7 hours to do this. I'm going to send Julie this list. I categorized and wrote out how many. It was a poor use of my time, but not if you guys use it. So you got to use it.
Our coaches use it.
Yes,
so
they do. They do.
It was great.
That's my magic, not consistency, like projects. So I wrote out how many minutes each video is. So you can just look at the list and go, oh, this one is on Energize, it's 1 minute. And so if somebody says, hey, what are you drinking? I can say, hey, can I send you this video? It's 1 minute, take a look. Would you watch it? Then they say yes. Then you send the video. And then after they watch the video, if they don't watch the video, you say, hey, did you get a chance to watch that video? And if they didn't, or if they respond or they don't respond, you can say, what did you think of that video? Or does this feel like it's a good fit? Or would you be excited? So I'm not even really getting a chance to stumble on my words or word vomit at all, because it's, hey, would you be open to trying this? Or if it's inbound, hey, let me send you a quick video. And then when they watch it, you ask them what they thought.
And you know what's cool about this is you never have to know, because that's one thing that we've experienced with people a lot is struggling with what to say. You don't have to say it. All you're doing is asking questions. Can you watch this video? What did you think about this video? And then based off of the information they're telling you, you get to direct them in a specific way. So you never have to figure out like the right words to use to invite. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
And when we were talking about teaching to teach, what's really cool is when my challengers in my group, and then they say, hey, I kind of want to become a coach, they think back to how I invited them, and it becomes, oh, I can do that. That I can send a link. That's easy. Or oftentimes they kind of just figure it out on their own, because they don't need a blog or presets on their Instagram, or, and that's my thing. If that's your thing, do it. But it doesn't have to be the requirement in order to be successful. And very often people spend way more time doing that stuff and they don't have a business. They just have the front end that looks gorgeous, but they don't have the duplication on the back end. And so the easier this is to press play or to invite, the easier it is, and the more someone's going to want to try it. And actually, so this might be a better way to make this stick. This is a Ray Higdon-ism. He says, sell the thing that sells the thing. So it's my goal to sell the video. It's not my goal. It's my goal to see if they're open to watching the video. It's not my goal to close them. It's not my goal to sell the product. I'm selling the thing that sells the thing. So I will make sure to get you guys that list. It's probably not totally up to date, but it's got a lot of good stuff categorized that you guys can use. And man, we just like picked webinar topics and we have for our points. Like this is not very succinct, but we just kind of wanted to cover lots of bases. Is there anything you want to finish up?
I don't know. Maybe we should just open for questions.
Yeah.
If we want to do that. Because otherwise we will talk for 3 hours.
We will, yeah, that's why we asked. I was like, I have 4 more points. Oh no. So does anybody have any specific questions? Like we will open up our business specifics, apps, scripts, anything you guys need. Or is there one thing in your business that you feel like is stopping you? I know that's a loaded question, but that always gets, I feel like, fingers moving. And if not, that's okay. Because we said, we promised you guys at the beginning of this call, do one thing. And I feel like we gave you more than one thing.
Awesome. Okay. What do you do when people don't respond? So it depends on what has got you to the point where they don't respond. And I can actually pull this up because I'll pull this conversation up because I've been sending an invite, doing it just like we were talking about. I just have to find it.
Well, so let me think of one off the top of my head. So if somebody says yes, and you're just waiting for them to buy the challenge pack or tell you what Shakeology flavor, a coach did this to me, and she literally said LMK heart for let me know. And I was just like, oh, why do I worry so much about like what to say? So if we left the conversation off and they're like, yeah, I'm ready, I'm all in, and we're just looking, and you got a yes, but it hasn't turned into an enrollment or a challenge pack, you could just say, hey, let me know, or you still in, like something very simple like that. And then if they don't respond, I actually get excited because, okay, cool, I'm gonna let this breathe for a little bit, and next month, now I've let it kind of have some air. And what we do is we talk the talk in our invitations, then we walk the walk. So I like to think of every no response as like an ex-boyfriend. And I just want to make him super jealous with my amazing results on social media. And I want to make him so upset that he didn't say yes sooner. and then join me next month. And so we talk the talk and then walk the walk.
Yeah. And so if someone doesn't respond like to your first message or whatever, just move on, because there are so many people. There are so many people that you can help with. Don't get hung up on someone who hasn't had a conversation. And I was just looking at this. So I sent an invite and I was talking to this girl and she's like ready to go. And August ended and she didn't. She stopped responding. And then I just sent her a follow-up on the 8th saying, hey, I hope you had a great weekend. I wanted to check in and see if you got an opportunity to watch the video I sent. And she saw it and she hasn't responded. So I'll probably send a similar message in a month. But there are so many people that if you sit and focus on the people who aren't responding instead of going out and having new conversations, then you're always going to end up feeling stuck.
I also like to just ask, hey, it seems like it's not a good time. Do you want me to circle back next month? And then if they don't respond to that, then I leave them be. But at least I'm giving them an out, but I'm still letting them know, hey, I'm going to follow up with you next month if you say yes. Usually, not that it's usually people have the money or that they don't have other objections, but usually that's appreciated. Just like yeah, you know what? Life is busy. And I actually had somebody who's a beauty counter rep who was like following up with me. So I was just so annoyed. It was like 6 months ago. I'm like, this is what I do and I know what you're doing. And she just wouldn't stop reaching out. And I was like, girl, I have full products on my counter. Like, I can't wait to try your stuff. I just bought stuff. And it was so aggressive. And it was such an amazing lesson because I realized like, I kind of don't want to buy anything from you ever now versus I would have been your advocate. And she didn't give me an out and she wasn't taking my response. And I think sometimes as coaches, we're taught to be a dog with a bone. And I like to be light and easy breezy and track, like I think Julie said. And then, yeah.
Cool. So next.
Oh, wait, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So Rob, you have 100-pound weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
We have a coach on our team who also has 100-pound weight loss.
Awesome.
Amanda. And Amanda's been working really hard to get to Diamond. And she signed a coach last week. And she also knows that her Diamond really can help our team make history in the network. So as 100-pound weight, I could vomit when I think about it. So because so could you speak to someone who's, whether it's been 100 pounds or 25 pounds or whatever it's been, someone who's had, a significant-ish weight loss success story, how to leverage that into, because what you're doing is exactly what you said, you're sharing and helping them get results, but also we're CEOs of a multi-million-dollar potential business. How can we take that story and leverage it into business?
So I think two things. I'm victim of it. Like, I do this myself. I do not share my before and afters enough. And I think when you have, especially if you have a massive transformation like that, it's very common to feel like, oh, I feel like I feel like I'm sharing this too much. Nobody wants to see this anymore. And I think one thing, I don't even remember, I hate that I don't remember who told me this, but we get tired of hearing our story because we tell it over and over and over. But the truth of the matter is no one's hearing our story over and over and over. I don't know what the specific number is, but only a very small percentage of people on social media seeing that post. And so if you've worked to the point where you have an amazing transformation, you need to share it as often as you possibly can.
Can you tag me in for number 2?
Yes.
I've seen Rob do this, and I've seen coaches see massive success with this when there's like a nutritional launch. So Diamond is 8 active coaches and 2 emeralds, right? We can't control our emeralds. Sometimes we can, but we can't really. All we can do is enroll coaches, and sometimes they're builders. For us, when we built our Diamond, and we teach our coaches to build with discount coaches. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and it's not going to create massive duplication, but don't not enroll a customer that's going to help you get to Diamond because they're not a business builder. And so what I've seen Rob and other coaches do is, as opposed to, hey, you want to get ripped, you want to work out every single day at 5 a.m., think about all the people who would just love to lose 5 to 10 pounds who have 100 pounds to lose. And I know for a fact, if they just stopped drinking soda, drank a little bit more water, and drank Shakeology every day for a month, they would feel better and they would see incredible results. And that's something people can do. Okay, I can drink a shake. I can try to eliminate my soda intake. And so specific posts, like I'm looking for people who have over 75 pounds to lose or over 100 pounds to lose. They're not going to be posting on social media, but they're going to be on social media. I remember when I was 50 pounds heavier, all I did was the internet because I didn't want to leave my house. So find a way to have them DM you, or like, don't even worry about the likes. Make your message that you're looking to help somebody with a simple change that can help them. And it's going to be easier to coach them. It's going to be more fulfilling to coach them, and they're going to come out of the woodwork.
I think the other thing too is, and I'm transitioning into this other question that was asked, working coaches, people ask us that all the time. And the people who become working coaches are people who experience a transformation. So I think that's the thing, is if you come in and you really work and you help someone experience 5 pounds weight loss, 10 pounds weight loss, the people in their life are going to notice it and ask the question, what are you doing? What's changing? And I think that it's just really important that as you're working through this journey with them, that they don't necessarily have to be prepared to take that next step. But just know that for me, like even now, so like I fluctuate. My body has been in so many different places depending on what I'm training for and how I'm training. But I know that when I really dial in, I attract a certain type of person. So always be sharing that next step and where you're going, what you're pursuing now, because people are going to want to continue on that journey with you.
And also, this is for all of us, but remember that as leaders, we just have to be one step ahead of the people that we're leading, or even shoulder to shoulder. And so think about the things that you've mastered. It doesn't have to be a 6-pack challenge. It doesn't have to be that you're a macro expert. You have mastered connecting to a community, reading a book, pressing play. And I feel like I learned this like simplicity from Julie and from Danielle Natoni. Like, it's read a book, press play. So as much as we brush that off, like, oh, that's so easy, for so many people, it's not easy. And you had to overcome all of these bad habits or just lack of routine in order to even get to this place. So the people that are 1 step or 2 step or 10 steps behind you, those are the people that you should be leading. And then the goal should be to keep moving a step further. And then you have more people behind you that you can lead. So just think about what you've already conquered and don't diminish it, because think about how hard it is for us to do something consistently every day. Like it's, I tend to overtalk.
I want to talk on the recruiting working coaches for one more second, then we'll move to the next question.
Could you read the question?
It was just recruiting working coaches.
Okay.
So 2 things. I want to equip you guys with a question that's super powerful that we ask every single coach when they start. And I will say it twice. What does success with Beachbody look like to you? I'll say that again. What does success with Beachbody look like to you? Okay. Now we have this mentality that like, oh, all the successful coaches must just be really good at recruiting working coaches. And really what it is the people who are super successful are really good at asking questions and then equipping people who answer those questions. Okay. Because if someone's goal, if someone says success with Beachbody looks like losing 100 pounds, I am not going to send them to go listen to all of Ray Higdon's podcasts. I'm going to connect them with a nutrition plan. I'm going to connect them with a workout plan that aligns with their goals, and we're going to get them showing up every single day. Equally, if someone says, hey, I'd really love to get my Shakeology paid for, or whatever, anywhere in between, or I really want to make this a full-time income. If that's the answer that you're given, then you can equip that person with the tools in order to do that. So I think asking that question is really the key to empowering someone to become a business building coach.
And so what we do, and we always say with that question, that's actually a question on our Getting Started Right calls. we ask them, one, what are you most excited about, to get their energy up and to hear what really drew them to this. And then two, what does success look like with Beachbody? And we don't have to explain what anything else is because there's a call on it. I want to connect with my new coach and I want to know why they're here. And like Rob said, once you know the answer to that, I guarantee you if somebody loses 100 pounds, they're going to set a new goal. They're probably going to set a new goal 10 pounds into that 100-pound weight loss because they realize what's possible, but they have to take that first step. And when you help people reach their version of success, they're going to continue to rewrite new versions of success. And we also give them permission in the first call. Hey, success is a specific definition to you, and we are giving you permission to change it at any time. Because it changes for us all the time. And then from there, as they start, when people start to feel good about themselves, that's when they say, I think I can do this. And then we use the same technique that we use for invitations, we use for training. So if someone says, hey, I'm really excited, I want to set up my Instagram, I'm going to send them a webinar that Shalene did on Instagram or that Ashley Molstad did on Instagram. And I'm not going to say you're on your own. I'm going to send it to them. And I'm going to say, I can't wait to hear what you learned. And then we're going to apply one thing. So you're not just constantly doing webinars and on voice memos, you're talking about it afterward. And then if they take action, that's when you keep going. And if somebody comes and says, I want to work a business, but they're not willing to track what they're doing, or they're not willing to read a book, or they're not willing to talk to people, then you can say, hey, it seems like this isn't really what success looks like to you. Do you want to redefine that goal? And you'll find that you have so much more energy and time after you do those things.
Cool. We talked about follow-ups, inviting scripts. I think we touched on this a little bit. I don't think you should worry about what you're telling people. It's about what you're asking people. So I think that's a huge mindset shift.
And let's just make it even more simple. So making contacts and like who to invite is a totally different topic, but what to say when inviting is, hey, I have a quick 2-minute video. Would you like, or hey, would you be interested in joining this next new program that I'm doing with me? Would you be open? Yes or no? If they say yes, then cool. I have a 2-minute video. Would you watch it? Yes. I challenge you to send out 100 videos. I guarantee you'll start to figure out what to say. You don't figure out what to say after. You kind of learn that in the doing.
Cool. How do you track what's working for you and your coaches when you invite to people daily? It easily gets overwhelming and people get lost.
I have a method called the Post-it note method. I will send Julie the link to the call.
That's another 30-minute answer.
It works for this brain. So
it works for her brain. The other thing we highly recommend is Moira Kusaba created something called the Rise Up Tracker. It's available on Amazon and it is awesome. A lot of our coaches use that as well because she pretty much took all of the different things that were out and available and she put them into one binder in a way that makes sense.
And I want her to sell all of those copies. And I know she didn't build this tracker to sell them either. So that's certainly not her intention. But the most effective page in that tracker is every month she has a business hot list and a customer hot list. So her business prospects and her challenge group prospects, and it literally is a list of 1 through 20. And it's like, that's how we track. We make a list of 1 through 20 and we work that list. And when I did that, like I had a really high month just because it was that simple. It's not about notes. It's just, these are my 10 people I'm talking to and I'm going to keep talking to them until they say no, or they say next month, and then put them on next month's and refill that list.
Awesome. How you plan your month.
We don't plan our month.
We don't plan our month. We are all over the place.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're wearing sweatpants right now.
So in reality, our coaches use the National Wake Up Call. We use the National Wake Up Call. We do a team call on Wednesday nights. And otherwise it's everything is challenge group based. We're digging into challenge groups. The National Wake Up Call I did a couple of weeks ago was about the business boot camp that I run. And I know that Julie just did that with a bunch of you guys. So we'll do that monthly.
It's really as needed.
But we don't, for the most part, we're not planning a month. We don't have any specific structure. So that's, I guess, one thing is you can be successful without having
a marketing plan,
like a crazy thing like that. But I also know that if you're the type of person that's, if it sounds exciting to you, can I say the one thing? Yes. My mindset is try something. And then do what works until it doesn't work anymore, and then do something else.
And I think this is a really great sentiment to kind of like end with is like, imagine where we'd be if we had a marketing plan. I want one. I can't wait. I can't wait to have a plan. I'm working on it right now. I'm working on doing my workout consistently, keeping sure that my laptop is plugged in, and like consistently. And I'm building on that foundation.
Did you get your water in today?
I'm drinking 100. But consistently. It's so empowering because it's starting to feel like this rock solid foundation where neurologically that's just what I do. And then I don't have to think about it. And I now have time to have this marketing plan. So we were all over the place on every topic because we just want to touch something for everybody. And we would literally sit here for 6 hours with you guys. I hope you can tell, like we love this and we love you and we love Julie and we know that this is possible for you. We wouldn't be spending this time. Like there's so much more room for you at the top and potential. Just know you're here without those skills. So imagine where you'd be with that one more thing that you're implementing.
And I think I don't want anyone to miss this. And you just said this, like find what lights you up in this business, what gets you excited and what makes you passionate. And I think, again, it's just like Chelsea being creative. And she's like, oh, I want to send you this. I want to send you this because it's what she's passionate about and what she's created. And like we had talked about me with fitness, it's just like, you cannot stop me. Like, so if I've worked out 3 times and someone says, hey, I'm going to do power legs, are you in? Yes. The answer is always yes. And so when you can get excited about this business, that's when it's like you will never be short on energy. And if you love what you do, you'll do it so much better.
And some specific examples of things. You may love graphic design. So you can create like printables and put them on Pinterest and you can learn how to do that. Or you might just love people. Gosh, people exhaust me. I want to create things and then give them to the people and never talk to them again. So people might energize you. So it doesn't have to be like, I love insanity or I love to create things. It could be, I love creating community. I love having a week, once a week where I have all my challengers over for coffee. Like that is your gift, the things that you can make it fit. I love seeing out of the box people make Beachbody work for them. And that's what we need. I don't want to see carbon copies. The final thing, just because they're on my desk, if you guys are looking for really awesome, like tangible tips and PD, I highly recommend John Maxwell's 101 books. So they're about $10 on Amazon, like Attitude 101, Leadership 101, that's boring, ethics. I mean, it's important. Teamwork 101, Success 101. It's hit, like John Maxwell's books are, if you apply one sentence, your life will change. And this is it boiled down in a really cute book. And I just felt like I would be remiss if I didn't share that with you guys. It's 8:20.
Sorry, that's it.
Do we really? Do we have to be done? Because I could.
No.
I mean, I could listen for another hour. I love what you ended with, though, in that sort of find that thing that lights you up. You know, because we talk a lot about finding your why, and we talk a lot about fighting for your blah, you know, whatever it is. And I like to a point that's okay, but I find a whole lot more fun in finding fun and joy and what lights me up than trying to fight for something. And I don't know why we need permission to really hone in on the stuff in the business that we love. But if you needed it on this call, you just got it.
Yeah, you have it.
Yeah. If you don't like making graphics, don't. Just don't. I went 11 years and really never made a graphic. So I hired someone, I don't make a bunch of YouTube videos. I just do a Facebook Live and download it to YouTube. Don't do the shit that doesn't make your heart light up. Don't do it. But do the stuff you have to do to move your business to the next level, the big picture. because no matter, I think of my husband a lot, who is put on this earth to coach college football. That is his life's work, to change young men's lives through the game of football. Does he love every single bit of that? Probably not. Does he do the stuff he doesn't love for the big picture? Yes.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're doing some of the stuff you don't love for the big picture that lights you up. But most of your time better be spent in the stuff that lights you up, because there's too much in this business that should be lighting you up to be spending time in stuff that doesn't.
I needed that.
That is true story. This business is life changing. And Jeff Mathewson said this word today. He said transgenerational. It's not just transformational inside and out. It is transgenerational. And as you watch your children's lives change, it is transgenerational. My daughters will be different because of this business. Their children will be different because of this business. That's not up for discussion. That's just a fact. So why would we not take time every single day, every day, not all day, every day, not all day, to do the stuff to create the life that we want to create on purpose, that not just changes our lives, that not just changes challengers' lives and coaches' lives, but changes our families' lives, multi-generational, transgenerational. And you two are two of the best in the business. Like, I'm just so grateful for you, so grateful for our friendship, so grateful that you just share. And, it's just the epitome of what this business is about. People that get on this call that have zero tie to our team and just share for an hour and a half what they know. That's who we are as
SM loves SM.
Yeah.
I love that. So make sure you're following Rob and Chelsea. Make sure you've taken a quick picture. Make sure you're tagging them on Instagram and give them all the love, and let the world out there know how appreciative you are of them and what they shared tonight. And let people know that this is the kind of tribe and community that they can be a part of if they just say yes. Lives can change if you just say yes in ways you don't even know, can't even imagine. And there they are, living on a lake. And I'm sure they would never have even imagined that. So crazy. So crazy. You guys are the best. We thank you so much for sharing tonight.
Thank you, Julie.
This was incredible.
I'm grateful.
Love you guys.
You too. Bye, guys. Have a great night.